Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Dallas, reppin' 52 of the Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis.
As always, I'm going to have Brendan repping 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
We got a great episode for you guys today. It's the offseason, so a lot of just kind of small moves with the NBA and NHL. We're going to get into all of them. We're going to talk some WNBA, some NFL. Brendan has taken an interesting path to learn baseball. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And yeah, just stay with us and let's have fun. Let's kick it off in the NBA. Brendan, tell us what's going on. Give us all the news.
So we're going to do all the news in chronological order from when I found it all, assuming this is all chronological. So we're going to start. The New York Knicks found their head coach. They are hiring two-time NBA Coach of the Year, Mike Brown. Pretty solid. I don't think he's ever won a championship, but he's definitely been around the league. Again, two-time Coach of the Year. Should be a pretty solid hire. Not who I thought the Knicks were going to go with as their next head coach, but I still think this is a good hire for the Knicks. Hopefully he can get them over the hump with that really talented roster.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they got so close, and I think they got a lot further in the playoffs than people were expecting, and they played really well. They just need to be able to utilize that bench a little better. They need a little bit of a deeper bench to give the superstars a break. And we're seeing that depth of roster is really what's winning championships when you look at the Celtics and OKC right now. So
yeah, so they're making moves. We'll see what happens with the Knicks this year. Moving on to one of the bigger news things that happened. DeAndre Ayton, the center, has signed a 2-year, $34 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. So the Lakers find their starting center to pair with Luka and LeBron. Obviously, Ayton, very high draft pick a couple years back to the, I believe, Phoenix Suns, if I recall correctly. Never really lived up to his draft status. So hopefully the Lakers, can kind of get him on the right path with him playing with Luka and LeBron.
Yeah. They needed a center. They need a true center. Thought it would be different, I suppose is the word. I know that the names Luka and LeBron sound like extreme star power, and I understand that LeBron's contract is kind of limiting
what the Lakers are.
But if you're trying to build a championship and you're trying to build around Luka moving forward, I'm just not sure
this is the way.
Yeah, that this is the move.
They did need a center. They accomplished the goal. I don't think DeAndre Ayton is going to win you an NBA championship, considering I don't think he's a premier center. I heard a pretty good comp the other day. If you want to go back to like the NFL, he's like the Dak Prescott of centers, where he'll get you wins. He's okay. You're not sitting there like, it's not terrible and we need to replace him tomorrow, but there's a lot better options out there. So I think the Lakers found a decent center, but not one that I really think is going to push them over the top as a team.
Yeah.
And that's really where we're at with the Lakers, is I think they're just not able to push themselves over the edge currently.
Yeah, and that's... they have a they have a playoff team, but to be a championship team
is very different.
I think you have to do better, but I guess we'll see. At the end of the day, a center is something they have needed, and they've needed for a long time. So it's
at least it's
definitely an upgrade.
They at least have one. So.
Yeah, they do now have one.
All right. Moving on, couple trades. The Houston Rockets are sending Cam Whitmore, the pretty highly drafted pick a couple years back, to the Washington Wizards in exchange for 2 second-round picks. Not the biggest move ever, but I think the Wizards do get better with this move, and then the Rockets just kind of get capital back from when they traded for Durant. Yeah. So I think this is a fine move for both teams. Whitmore wasn't really going to be a part of this squad. There's just a lot of people in front of him, and I think the Wizards aren't a good team, so adding more young talent doesn't hurt. So,
and I think like we are seeing the Wizards clearly make moves.
yes.
They have done a lot this offseason already to kind of revamp, retool, and it's more effort than I think we've seen from the Wizards front office in a long time.
Yes.
So I'm not sure that it's going to
pay off.
It's not
currently?
going to equally or immediately equal, benefits, but I do think we're seeing steps in the right direction.
Like, I don't think the Wizards are going to do what the Pistons did last year. Because the Pistons were one of the worst teams in the NBA 2 years ago. Made the playoffs last year. I don't think the Wizards are going to have that kind of turnaround. But I think they're making the right moves to get back on track. That's the best way we can describe how the Wizards are doing. For the second trade we're going to talk about, this one's a little weird because we talked about the vast majority of it when Kevin Durant was traded. But since nothing was made official, the Kevin Durant trade has now been expanded to a 7-team trade. This is the first time that has happened in the history of the NBA. So pretty cool. And we'll kind of dive into the 7-team trade. Going to Phoenix is Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kaman Mulak, Rasheer Fleming, Kobe Brea, Daquan Floden, and a second-round pick. Going to Houston is Kevin Durant and Clint Capella. Going to Brooklyn is 2 second-round picks. Going to Golden State is Alex Tuhey and Jameer Mashak. Going to Atlanta is a second-round pick swap, David Roddy and Cash. Going to the Lakers is Adu Tero. And then going to Minnesota is Rocco Zikarsky, 2 seconds, and Cash. Big trade. I couldn't find the actual breakdown of where everybody came from. I could just find where everybody went. So that's what the 7-team trade looks like. Pretty incredible that we got a 7-team trade in the NBA. That's kind of insane to me. Obviously, started with the Phoenix and Kevin Durant trade, and then before that all became official, they expanded it to 7. So, pretty cool, but doesn't really mean a whole ton. Beyond the Phoenix Suns and the Houston Rockets and what they did. Continuing with the trade theme, the Clippers, Jazz, and Heat had a trade. The Clippers are sending Norman Powell to Miami. John Collins goes to the Clippers along with Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson. And then Kyle Love and Kyle Anderson and the Clippers second are going to the Jazz. So 3-team trade. John Collins goes from the Jazz to the Clippers. The Clippers send Norman Powell to Miami. And then Miami sends Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson to the Jazz. So 3-team trade. Nothing too big, but a pretty interesting trade, I guess. It's not the biggest trade.
Yeah, like it's interesting because it's a trade, but I don't think it doesn't really do anything for anybody.
Moving around.
It's just moving pieces.
And then a couple extensions. The Oklahoma City Thunder have signed Chet Holmgren to a 5-year max rookie extension worth up to $250 million. Pretty big contract to be given another guy that has had some injuries in the league, hasn't really ever been the premier center they drafted him to be. So we'll kind of see.
Yeah, hasn't ever quite lived up to what they expected. So
but was definitely a big part in them winning the championship. So,
Yeah.
huge contract. The Oklahoma City Thunder are absolutely spending the money on their team this year. Uh, Continuing, the Oklahoma City Thunder re-signed Jalen Williams to another pretty lucrative deal. Why can I not find it? Jalen Williams to a 5-year maximum rookie extension for $287 million. So another really big extension for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, coming off the championship with their players needing extensions, it's going to cost them a lot. You had SGA setting the record. Then you have Chet and now Jalen Williams. So those are three really big extensions. Oklahoma City Thunder no longer has the cheapest. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
cheapest. Like, no longer has a really solid cheap roster. It's starting to get expensive. I think this will kind of become interesting to see if they can continue the runs they've been having now that their rosters are getting more expensive and depth is going to be
Yeah.
a lot harder to come by with the price of their actual roster.
Yeah. I agree. We talked about this last week, I think. Um, One of the benefits of the OKC was kind of how young everybody surrounding SGA was. So it was easy to kind of stack the deck, have the depth, and make the run. As you hand out multiple lucrative deals, that becomes difficult to do.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and if they can maintain their success.
Yeah. Continuing with the extension theme, Devin Booker has signed a 2-year, $145 million extension with the Phoenix Suns. This is the highest annual extension salary in NBA history, but it's only for 2 years. So, lots of money, but not a lot of time. Obviously, Devin Booker is the best player on the Suns and is slowly making
Yeah,
his way to superstardom. So, it's a deal for the Suns. They freed up a ton of cap by trading Durant, that you could
yeah,
kind of make this move make sense.
yeah.
Uh, Beyond that, just a couple things to talk about with the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets is my team. Dallas kind of focuses on them a little more, but she tends to bounce around the league. The Denver
Yeah,
Nuggets
I'm just
have kind of
watching.
been the talk of the town a little bit recently. Obviously, they started by hiring Jared Dudley, an assistant coach, former player. It does seem like that has been a very focused thing the Nuggets are trying to do right now when building the staff around Altman is bringing in a lot of former players to be coaches. I personally like that. I think former players tend to make the best coaches.
Yeah,
That goes for like any sport. Um, but yeah, that's been the focus. They bring in Jared Dudley. Obviously, I think won a championship when he was with the Mavericks as a player. Now joining the Nuggets staff. Uh, Slightly other news. We talked about the Nuggets making the trade for Jonas Valanciunas, the center
hmm
from the Sacramento Kings. That trade is still not made official yet. I don't think it will be for a little bit. Kind of see how this develops. But there was a lot of talks about him leaving the NBA and joining a team in Greece. That still hasn't happened yet. He is not allowed to leave the NBA because he is still under contract unless the Nuggets and him can come to an agreement to either buy it out or he forfeits his current contract. Those would be the options. The Nuggets do technically have final say of we are not going to let you leave. Um, this situation's still going on. It seems like he's going to travel to Denver here soon and meet with the team. He did just travel to Greece to meet with the team that's offering him money from the Greece League. So he's coming to Denver. We'll kind of keep you updated on this situation as it unfolds, but it is an interesting one. He would be forfeiting or losing out on probably
a
10 to
lot of money.
10 to 20 million. I think he has 2 years left on a 10 million per year contract. So that's $20 million he could be forfeiting. I have no idea what the contract he was offered to play in Greece was, but I doubt it is in the range of
I
$10 million.
doubt that.
So obviously the Nuggets kind of care. I mean, they did this as a salary dump trade kind of anyway. So even if he doesn't come in, it's not the end of the world for the Nuggets, but obviously having a backup center for Nikola Jokic would be ideal.
Was the goal.
Speaking of Nikola Jokic, it has been reported he could have signed a contract extension a couple days ago. It was the first time he was eligible to sign a new deal in a while. He's currently got, I think, another 2 years left, 1 or 2 years left on his current contract. And he has denied to sign an extension this summer. A lot of people are overreacting to that fact. Yes, he turned down signing a new contract. He did that because if he waits until next summer, the potential to make $80 million is then on the table. Yeah. That is the amount of money his next contract could be worth, is $80 million if he just waits until next summer. I don't know about you, but I think I would wait 1 more year to sign an $80 million contract and make yourself the most money of any NBA player per year. Just a thought.
Like any player in any sport ever.
Yeah.
For a year. Look, I get it, right? We overhype things. European players really don't leave their team.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what that team looks like, the success they do and don't have. On the norm, they don't leave. So, until Jokic is coming out going, I want out, or I want to be traded, or any of that, it's probably, like Brendan said, money-based, nothing else.
And that's currently what it seems like. Because, again, I think if he were to sign the extension this summer, I think he would be in the range of 65, 70 million per year. If he just waits 1 more year, he's going to make at least $10 to $15.
He's eligible for 80.
So obviously there is money incentives to this. Financial incentives normally dominate whatever decisions players make.
I mean, we've seen it across all kinds of sports, right? We talked about it months ago when it was Myles Garrett banging his hands on the table, screaming away, I demand out, and then the right number hit the table.
And then he was the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL for a couple of days. His contract was beaten, but he was the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL.
Everybody's got a number in sports, and that's just the reality. But European players really like to stay where they're drafted. That's where they make their home. That's where they live their lives. For, the entire season, that's who they are. That's what they do. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think that's what that means until he comes out and goes, yeah, I want to leave.
Which, truth be told, I think at that point he just retires. But who knows? This is all speculation, obviously. But yeah, everybody pump the brakes. I don't think Nikola Jokic is going anywhere currently.
Yeah.
So that really does it for the NBA in terms of news. As more comes out, again, we're in the offseason. The Summer League, I believe, is kicking off today. Or there was some games earlier, but they aren't actually part of Summer League. Summer League, I believe, kicks off completely today. I know the Nuggets are playing today. So we'll probably watch a little bit of the Summer League, but truthfully, the Summer League just kind of doesn't matter. It's a good preseason. You can kind of see rookies. I think the most interesting thing to watch might be Cooper Flagg. Obviously being the number 1 overall pick. But that's pretty much it. It's just preseason. So, lots of rookies. Mildly interesting, but nothing too crazy.
Nothing too exciting. Cool. Well, then we will kick it to the WNBA. Just a little bit of news, or not even news, piece of information, and then just a small thing I want to talk about for a moment. So when we talked last week, they were going to play the Commissioner's Cup. That game Fever did win 74-59 over the Minnesota Lynx. Natasha Howard was named MVP with a 16-12 double-double. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to her. Here's the problem. They won that game without Caitlin Clark. As a WNBA fan, and if you're a Fever fan, you should be really excited about the growth this team has shown. In terms of their depth and their skill level at position without Caitlin Clark. I think those are positive things to take away from. Caitlin Clark made her debut back from the thigh injury that you and I talked about extensively, that can be really dicey. Coming back too soon, you just re-aggravate it, you don't look 100%, whatever. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a team physician, I have no idea. What I do know is in their loss to the Valkyries, she looked horrible. It was terrible. Calm the fuck down. Calm down. That is pretty normal for every athlete at every sport and every position. When you're away for a couple of weeks, especially due to injury, when you can't practice and you can't work out and you're not maintaining that connection with your teammates, and they had a roster lineup that they then had to adjust to account for your return, those things take time. It's okay. It does not mean that, one, the Fever are better without Caitlin Clark. That's an absurd thing to say. It's an absurd thing to say. It also does not mean that Caitlin Clark is actually not a good basketball player. That is also an absurd thing to say. Like, I don't know how many years of evidence we need to be proven that's not true. But coming back a little rusty from an injury is not the same thing as chick can't play ball.
Not just an injury in your legs, which is arguably the most important thing for a basketball player.
Pretty important. I don't know quite what's going on with the discourse surrounding the WNBA. It is overtly toxically negative. It's a sport. Should be analyzed like any other. Should be talked about like any other. If Patrick Mahomes, God, heaven forbid, broke his wrist tomorrow, and then first game back, threw a couple interceptions, nobody on the planet would be like, he can't play football. You gotta give the man a minute. If Lamar Jackson breaks his leg, and then when he tries to escape the pocket, gets his bell rung because he's too slow, it's not that he can't play football anymore. Like, this is normal. This is a normal part of sports. If you can't handle that, or you can't have an intelligent, because that's the word, conversation, please shut up. Please just don't. Those are absurd things to say. It's insane. Doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't get it. I have no patience for it. Calm down. Should be fine. Might need a couple games to get her feet back under her. To get back in shape, get back into the rhythm. And you talked about it last week. This is Caitlin Clark's first major injury in her entire career, and that's including college.
Yeah.
There's a mental aspect of her having to know that her leg can be trusted. There's a fear of pain. There's a fear of what you're going to miss out. There's a fear of letting your team down. There's a mental aspect to injuries that also has to be overcome, not just the physical healing. If you can't recognize that, and you cannot have an intelligent, compassionate conversation about it, don't speak. Don't fucking speak.
Because
you either don't know what you're talking about, or you're a terrible person. Regardless, you're contributing nothing to the conversation, so sit down and shut up. But that's it for the WNBA.
Yeah. I guess we'll move on to the NHL, which is not going to be as ranty as the WNBA was. There's only really two things to talk about in the NHL. We did have the biggest signing so far in the NHL. The
Yep.
best player available in free agency was arguably Nikolai Ehlers. Coming off a really good season with the Winnipeg Jets, he has decided to sign a 6-year, $8.5 million contract with the Carolina Hurricanes. Coming off a great season, not great in the playoffs. Hurricanes sign him to a pretty decent deal, honestly, for what I thought he would make.
And when you think about it, they kind of traded Rantanen for Ehlers. And you got Ehlers for way less.
Yeah. Overall, pretty good move for the Hurricanes. Just kind of it for the NHL right now. The Colorado Avalanche, again, is our team. They did one thing as well. They brought in veteran Brent Burns on a 1-year deal. So they add a defenseman to that roster. Really, the only thing that this means is he's probably going to get hurt and ruin his Ironman streak. Because he has, I think, the 4th longest Ironman streak. For those of you that don't know what that means, playing in every game, which is really impressive in the NHL. It's an 82-game season, and you take a lot of hits, especially if you're a defenseman. You tend to give a lot of hits. It's a lot of punishment on the body. He's been an Ironman. He's had pretty decent. But the Avalanche tend to be the curse. Every player that ever goes there gets hurt at some point. So hopefully he can stay healthy. That is, I think, the reason they brought him in, is because he's a proven Ironman. Doesn't really ever get hurt. Overall, good deal for the Avs. It's like a 1-year, $1 million contract. It means literally nothing in terms of cap.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, though, for Avs fans. That is what we've done so far.
Nice.
And
we talked about this, though. The Avs tend to, and hockey, it just tends to start slow. They take their time. The Avs have several players whose contracts are coming up or are up. And that's going to be kind of the focal point.
There are things. The Avs also are an organization that doesn't panic because things are happening.
They are very calm. They know what they want to do, and if you disrupt that, they simply pivot. They don't overreact.
They're a great front office in terms of they don't throw money just to throw money around.
Yeah.
And if they make a mistake and give somebody a stupid contract, they don't then compound on the problem and keep them around. They don't double
down. They don't double down.
It's just what the Avs do.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of take it as we go. They're not done. I promise that. There's still things on this roster that need done and dealt with. There's a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
But the Avs tend to see how free agency starts unless they love somebody in free agency and they're like, that's our guy. We need him. They tend to just play around the edges and see what they can get.
Yeah,
until
they let
it becomes
the kind of chips fall and see where things are going to go. So they're a very calm, very patient front office. And they play a lot of chess. They're not just playing checkers.
Yes. So we'll see what happens, but that's where we're at.
Nice.
That's it for the NHL. The NHL was still doing stuff.
It's been slow.
Slow.
It's that time of year. That's okay. Well, Brennan, why don't you tell everyone the interesting way you've chosen to get into baseball? I simply tried to watch a couple games. I'm going to be honest. I fell asleep during both of them. I tried. Here's the thing. I understand the rules. I really do. I'm just trying to find my niche to really enjoy it. And I'm still working on that. But Brendan seems to have found his. So why don't you share with the class, Brendan?
So, again, this is just to watch baseball games. Because I'm much like Dallas. Find them a little slow and not very exciting. The way I found to make them slightly more exciting is just to place tiny bets. I'm not placing anything big. I don't really care. I just play small bets on the games I can physically watch. I will not say who I bet through, and in no way, shape, or form, I'm not an expert, so don't listen to anything I say when it comes to betting. I promise. Not an expert before we get anywhere.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
overall, I find it to be a decent way to at least watch games, uh, pick players, see how they're doing, rather than teams, because I think just watching the team as a whole is the boring part. But if you're just intrigued on players, I still watch the whole game, but I'm more intrigued on what a single player is doing. I think that's how
Rather
I've
than
been.
team oriented.
It's how I've been getting into baseball. It's been working all right, but made a little money. I think it's been a pretty decent trade off.
Yeah.
So
The only true thing I've been able to ascertain is that I definitely agree that Juan Soto should have made the All-Star game. I think that is mildly insane.
sure,
Beyond that, still looking for my niche.
currently my go-tos at this point are the Dodgers and the Mariners. That's just kind of the era we live in.
Yeah,
Tend to get more of
that's
those teams.
yeah, yeah.
But the Mariners and the Dodgers have kind of been where I'm
And the
sitting.
Mariners are not.
Doing too hot right now, but
That's hard to watch.
they do
That's
currently
hard to watch.
have the MVP favorite because Cal Riley, their catcher, has been, incredible.
Yeah, it's a
Hitting.
bright spot. Bright spot.
Yeah. So
So
we'll see where that goes.
we'll see.
But
We'll see.
do like watching Otani. He's been pretty fun still. Great
The
player.
talent of that man, like, it's unfair, right? Like, I think when you watch people like Otani, um, Lamar Jackson,
Just like the best players.
Beyonce, you're like, why do you get so much talent?
Yeah.
And some of us, we would just like a little bit. We would just like, you know what I mean? Like you have so, like, you're so good. And I know that comes with hard work and dedication and meh.
But
But it also comes with, like,
a level
there's a
of,
natural born talent
especially in I
there.
think baseball. Baseball's one that I think
Yeah.
there's a level. I think the only sport where there's actually truly not a level of natural talent is hockey. I think that's the hardest sport to
That's
actually
fair.
start and get good at. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But baseball is one that I think, yeah, you have some natural talent. Um,
Like, don't
obviously,
get me wrong, the bane of my existence is that Patrick Mahomes chose to play football instead of baseball, and I weep over that decision often. But it's just unfair.
yeah,
It's just unfair.
and he continues to be pretty much one of the main guys I've been watching. Him, the
Yeah.
Mariners. I've watched a little bit of the Rockies. For some reason, they've been a team that's been televised. I don't know why you would ever televise that team.
I have no idea.
Um,
I have no idea. That seems like a complete waste of time and money.
I think you televise them because of the people like me that just watch it out of morbid curiosity because they are that bad. And
Like,
I mean
just how
that
bad can it
bad.
be? Yeah.
Um, but that's pretty much been it.
Yeah.
A little bit of Houston. Um, just kind of trying to bounce around a little bit. Haven't done a great job, mainly because I do like watching Otani play. I like watching Cal Riley play. And
Yeah.
then there's some other ones, but those two kind of dominate right
Fair.
now.
Fair.
So I'm trying. I am trying to get into baseball. and bring some decent baseball talk. Not gonna say it's great. I don't think I'll ever get there.
We're making the effort, though. We are making the effort.
So we'll continue. Obviously, the
Okay.
All-Star game is coming up in like a week, I believe.
The 15th?
So a little less than a week.
Yeah.
Should be fun. Probably will only care about the home run derby, but still should be an interesting time.
Should be fun. Should be.
So that's where
That
we're
I
at
will
with baseball.
definitely watch.
But that's where we're at with baseball. Is trying to get into it and kind of succeeding.
Kind of. Where effort has been made.
So I think that's it for
Alrighty.
baseball.
Well, then let's kick it to the NFL. Obviously, mine and Brendan's first and foremost love. It's where we spend the majority of our time. It's also why we try to do it last. So if you wanted to hear about other sports, we gave it real time. We didn't spend 4 hours just talking about football because that can and does happen.
Yeah.
So Brendan, let's talk breaking news. It's not breaking, but it's interesting.
It's
news.
It's news, and when you're in the off
It's
season,
news. It happened. It's
when you're in the off
thing that was
season,
done.
you kind of just gotta take what you get and move on. And that's what we're doing. The Pittsburgh Steelers have announced that they are re-signing or offering a new deal to their general manager, Omar Khan. It's a 3-year contract. He's now with the team through 2028.
Which most head coach and GM contracts are 3 years. That's not surprising there. What's surprising is that they thought that was a good idea.
It's just the Steelers doing Steeler things. I don't know what else to say.
Like, I'm just wondering what moves and what draft picks and what decisions we've made that
warrant
an extension.
I'm not sure the answer. The only person that has the answer is the owner of the Steelers.
Yeah, is there any family? And
so,
okay.
Continue to live in mediocrity, because that's what your GM knows how to do, and that's what you're going to keep doing as long as that GM is in charge. That's what the GM and the head coach know how to do at this point.
And they do it very well. Very well.
Hey, live in mediocrity, I guess.
So,
in my opinion, the worst place to be in sports, but you're there.
Yeah.
So,
because at least if you're at the bottom, you can climb up.
Yeah.
You can rebuild. If you're at the top, you're at the top. If you're in the middle, you can go up or down. And
the Steelers are refusing
you really should
to do
one
either.
Of them.
Yeah. It's easier to go down than it is to go up when you're in the middle, but you got to pick a direction and just go for it. And I feel like the Steelers just haven't. So that's where the Steelers are at. We talked extensively about them in the last episode, so we'll just kind of stop bashing. We'll stop bashing them for a little bit.
For now,
not for very long.
2025-26 season goes.
We tend to.
I'm a Ravens fan. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you want from me. It's not my fault. It's in the contract. Honestly, they don't let you buy a Ravens jersey unless you say 6 bad things about the Steelers.
Only 6. Wow.
It's only 6. It's only 6. It's dependent on your age. Dependent on your age.
Got it.
So,
I guess.
All right. Well then, let's move past mediocrity and talk hopefully good teams.
I mean, do you have anything to talk about with the Ravens, or is it just been
Baltimore
quiet?
Ravens. I realized the one thing. I think last week I made a mistake. Their joint practice with the Colts. I thought that was their 3rd preseason game. It's actually their 1st. So they will start training camp with joint practices. Nothing is going on, and I mean literally nothing. I should have saved the Kyle Hamilton got engaged news for today because that would have at least been something.
Well, on the bright side,
They go ahead.
I said on the bright side, that means nothing's happening to go wrong. So
Yeah, I know that Lamar and Flowers were in Florida, and that's pretty much it. So, but I don't get excited by wheel routes in shorts. I just don't. I'm sorry. It's cool. You all are building a connection. I don't care.
y'all hang out.
Yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
I believe it. I have zero doubt about it. So, I know Lamar is focused on kind of his leadership this offseason and team bonding. So we'll see kind of how that progresses and what that looks like moving into the regular season. But no, there's no Baltimore Ravens news.
Cool. That part of the offseason. I guess we'll talk very little about the Seahawks because they at least did something.
Okay.
I got some news.
We're moving forward.
So we talked about them signing Shaquille Griffin. They finally made that signing official. They released corner JT Woods to bring in Shaquille Griffin. So they swap a corner with a corner. Obviously, I think Shaquille Griffin is better than JT Woods because I had no idea who JT Woods was. No offense to him, but that's where we're at.
Fair.
So that's what the Seahawks did. Beyond that, not a ton. I know Darnold was hanging out with a lot of the receivers. I had a comment on that. Won't share it here, but if you find the picture, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think it's pretty obvious the theme that's going on there with the Seahawks wide receiver room. Beyond that, not a ton going on with the Seahawks. Kind of staying out of the news. What we like to see.
No news is good news right now.
So that's where we're at. There's not a ton going on. We're in the deadest part of the NFL season until training camp starts at the end of the month. So
yeah, a
little
less than 2 weeks. 23rd.
Yeah, until then, this is pretty much what you expect for the NFL. Is the random signings or extensions or bullshit. So that's where we're at. The NFL is kind of just existing.
Quarterbacks Season 2 launched on Netflix. We are both going to watch that. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to you about it next week. Do you have any thoughts, opinions? I watched half of the first episode, so I'm just going to not right now.
I forgot about it. I completely forgot that it existed until you mentioned it earlier today. So I will hopefully get started on that, and we'll see how it goes. But should be exciting. 3 decent options, I guess. It'll be an interesting watch.
It's interesting. It was really interesting. So I guess I'll say this. I'll talk about this for a moment because we don't have anything else. The start to the 3, like the intro and kind of how they've all set themselves up, was interesting because you had Burrow coming off the injury. You had Cousins coming off his major injury, and the trade, which is the first time ever, not the first time ever in his career, but he really thought like he was going to stay with the Vikings for a long time and finish his career. The really big one for me was Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Because Goff gave an interesting point of view to his trade. I think we always look at Goff as the nice guy, and he always is kind of trying to be a people pleaser, and so he says the right thing at the podium, and he never bashes anybody or throws anybody under the bus. He's not that guy. He's not Aaron Rodgers, for God's sakes, and we thank the world for it.
There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are.
His commentary on his point of view, not what I expected. Not what I expected. Because he basically was like, I felt betrayed and let down because no one even had a conversation with me. I didn't even know this was on the table until they called and said it was done. And
Damn.
when you get drafted to a place, you get drafted first overall, and you think you have a relationship with those people,
And you take them to a Super Bowl.
you have expectations for how it could end. And then he's like, and I got to Detroit and realized for the first time ever in my career, this is what it feels like to be wanted.
Damn.
And I'm like, that is some heavy shit that I did not expect. I did not expect.
Well, I'm very excited to start this then, because that sounds very interesting. Obviously, ton of respect for Jared Goff and what he's doing with the Detroit Lions.
Hell yeah.
So we'll see.
Hell yeah. I know the last game was unfortunate, but he has played phenomenal football with that team, and he has helped them build something fantastic.
So,
and I'm excited to see how they build on it.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
It's definitely like the first season of quarterbacks just kind of felt dry a little bit. Like I enjoyed the concept, right?
Yes.
But when you're watching Patrick Mahomes, like you're like, okay, like I get it. When you're watching Kirk Cousins, you're like, okay, it's great, you're talented, but okay. And then Mariota. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's a very honest podcast. that is not who I would spend time watching a documentary about. But to watch Jared Goff now and the things he's been through, and to give an honest point of view, because he's talked about it. He's like, hey, I respect everybody there. There's a lot of love. It's a business. He has a very clinical quarterback, leader of a team response. So in this moment, to kind of let that fall away and give an honest reaction and to see into that, I think is fantastic, and I'm intrigued to see more.
Yes.
And he's such a quiet guy that I'm excited to see him throughout this show. He's really the thing I'm looking the most forward to. Burrow, great, cool, whatever.
Burrow and Cousins, I kind of feel the same. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
We've already kind of seen Cousins in this role, so I'm not
it's a little different because we're seeing the move.
We're seeing the move, and we're seeing him kind of get sidelined.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, is the interesting part, but beyond that.
But I think Goff makes this season worth watching. If you weren't going to already, it is a good show. I don't know. Peyton Manning's another one. It's like, why? Why do you get to have so much? Why are you so good at things? Kind of go away, but also please don't ever.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, it's a good show. We enjoyed Receivers. I started it. I started the second season of Quarterbacks. I'm excited to continue, and hopefully next week be able to text you guys about all of it.
I'm excited to get started on it because it does sound pretty interesting, and definitely something I kind of want right now because we're in that part of the off season. So
yeah, we need something.
So I guess speaking of Joe Burrow, we can move into our reviews.
Yeah, we can talk about the rest of the AFC North.
Yes.
So the Bengals and the Browns.
So we're going to start with the Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals because they came third in the AFC North. So we'll start there. We'll start with the cap space like we always do, especially because the Bengals cap space kind of matters right now. We'll see what they end up doing, and we'll talk about the potential for things to happen with the Bengals as we get further in. But currently, they are sitting on $32 million in cap. That's a pretty decent amount. Plenty to do what they should be doing right now. They should re-sign Trey Hendrickson. They also need to sign their first-round pick, Shamar Stewart. That is where they're at. They have not done either of those things. $31 million might not be, or $32 million might not be enough to get both of them done, considering Trey Hendrickson wants a lot of money.
Yeah.
And a first-round pick is not cheap. Beyond that, they're sitting all right in cap space, I guess, if you consider flat amount compared to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
But when you take into account what they need to do with that cap space, not great. When, Trey Hendrickson wants a bag. He wants at probably $40 million a year. Obviously, for the first year, you can kind of play around with how the cap works. So you can bring his cap hit way down for the first year and then elevate it for the next couple. We'll see what they do. But they still need to do it. So we'll see if they do. Getting into their free agency. The Bengals haven't done a ton other than re-signs. So we'll start there. They re-signed T. Higgins to a franchise tag. And then I think they also then signed him to another contract, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
They did both.
So he was franchise tagged and then got an actual extension.
So
him and Jamar Chase.
Yeah. So they re-signed T. Higgins to an actual extension. They re-signed B.J. Hill, their defensive tackle. They re-signed Jamar Chase, their best wide receiver in the league, arguably. To, I believe, the most expensive non-QB still, unless someone overtook him. I can't remember. Because I think he beat Garrett and Crosby. So unless somebody else re-signed that I can't remember all of a sudden.
Think so.
He's the most expensive.
It might be Crosby right now. I'm not sure.
I can't remember if his deal happened after Chase.
Yeah, I don't remember the order
they were each just one-upping each other as they went.
Yeah. I just don't remember who was last.
Yeah. They re-signed Geno Stone, the safety. They bring back Zach Moss. They bring back Mike Gesicki, the tight end. They bring back Marco Wilson, the corner. They bring in Samaje Perine, the running back from the Chiefs. Lucas Patrick, the right guard from the Saints. They bring back a bunch of kind of okay guards, some guys at the bottom of the roster. Nothing really to write home about in terms of who they brought back from that point on, or who they brought in. Not a ton of free agent additions to this team. We'll get into who they're losing. Obviously, they still haven't re-signed Trey Hendrickson. He's a possibility. He still has, I think, a year left on his current deal.
I think he has. This is his last year on the deal.
Yeah. So they could trade him. He could sit out. Still don't know yet, but he hasn't been re-signed. Sheldon Rankins signed with the Texans. Sam Hubbard has no contract. He's a free agent still, so he could be re-signed. Alex Kappa, their right guard, signed with the Raiders. Jermaine Pratt, their linebacker, was released and picked up by the Raiders as well. Mike Hilton, one of their corners, didn't re-sign and hasn't signed anywhere else, so he's still a free agent. Could be re-signed if he wanted. Trent Brown, their right tackle, signed with the Texans. Akeem Davis-Gaither, their linebacker, signed with the Cardinals. And then a couple running backs signed elsewhere. Nothing to write home about. Kind of the story of the Bengals offseason. Is not a lot of additions to write home about.
Underwhelming and unproductive.
Yeah, not a lot
of toxic.
Damn near no additions in terms of outside free agency. I don't think they actually did. Their biggest outside free agent was Samaje Perine, the running back.
I find the notion that switching defensive coordinators seems to be like that's the only thing that's wrong. That like if we just get a new DC, which they did, it's gonna fix itself. That's not how that works.
It would help if you gave the DC stuff to work with,
So,
like
especially
a star pass
like
rusher.
an edge rusher might be necessary when you play in a league and in a division with Lamar Jackson.
And
your conference has
3 of the
Lamar
5.
Jackson,
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, and Patrick
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
3 of
You
the
might need
top
an
5
edge rusher.
quarterbacks.
So
maybe just a little bit.
That's a choice that we've made. I don't understand it. I feel almost similarly to the Bengals as I do the Steelers. We just keep doubling down on the decisions we make. Like, I get it that Jamar Chase is a great wide receiver. I'm not denying that. I can be unbiased in terms of reviewing talent in football.
And Jamar Chase is easily...
And while I don't like the Steelers, TJ Watt is a motherfucking problem.
And he always will
like the Bengals. Jamar Chase is a problem. He's a Triple Crown winner. There have only been 9 of those. 9. The NFL is over 100 years old. Like, that's impressive. He is a Hall of Famer if he retired tomorrow. To pay him and T. Higgins, because your quarterback wanted you to, and tell the defense to go F themselves, when that's why you lost games last year, that's why you didn't make the playoffs, seems like a poor choice. Now, this is who the Bengals are. And unfortunately, this is who the Bengals have always been. They've been notoriously cheap. And when they paid Joe Burrow, Bengals fans thought, oh, finally. Finally. They know we have to put money into the team. But the way it works is, you have to pick. Either you buy players for one side of the ball, and you develop the other side through the draft and talent, or you spend a little money evenly and you draft and develop evenly. That would be the Ravens model. The Steelers or the Bengals model appears to be we spend a crap ton of money on one side of the ball, but we don't even develop the other side because we can't get our first round draft pick signed. You're muted.
We can talk about the draft picks real quick while we're here. Obviously, they had Shamar Stewart, the first round pick out of Texas A&M, to be their edge rusher. He's not re-signed, or he's not signed yet, because they are trying to
not practicing.
Trying to mess with the system here. Demetrius Knight is a linebacker / safety. He's kind of in that weird in between. Probably going to play safety in the NFL. I have no idea. I don't think he's signed either. He's your second defensive pick. You kind of need those when you are running out of defensive options. They did draft Dylan Fairchild. I think he signed offensive guard out of Georgia. That's fine. You need an offensive line to protect Joe Burrow. That's fair. That's always kind of been...
You haven't been able to do well the last few years, so sure.
Their 4th round pick is a linebacker, Barrett Carter, out of Clemson. That's fine, you know. You got more linebacker help. After releasing Jermaine Pratt, your best one. Sure. Probably would have had Jermaine Pratt help develop this kid, but, you know, it's a choice.
Yeah.
You made your choice. You brought in an offensive tackle with the 5th round. I guess fine. Again, can't build an offensive line. And then you draft a running back in the 6th. Technically fine, because that team doesn't have a running back.
Yeah.
But you don't run the ball a whole ton because you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
No line. And no line to move the ball.
So, probably not your best use.
I saw a thing. I'm hoping I'm not going to fuck this up.
Okay.
Joe Burrow is the number 1 sacked quarterback against the least amount of blitz percentage.
Okay.
So he actually does not have to be blitzed to get sacked as much as he does, is basically what the stat tells you. Which in short means his O-line is garbage.
And has been for several years.
For a very long time. So I'm all for rebuilding the O-line. And I'm all for drafting defensive players rather than spending a lot of money on one. But you should not spend a crap ton of money on 2 wide receivers. They should not. 3 players should not make up 50% of your cap, which is where the Bengals do currently sit at. While they have a lot of cap space, 3 players make up the majority of it.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
And all of them on the same side of the ball. Does not help you.
Like,
does not get you wins, does not win you the division, and it will not get you back to the Super Bowl. Because at some point, the fact that they made a Super Bowl is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. It will be enough when he retires, right? We still talk about Dan Marino as one of the greats. And unfortunately, the cap of his career was he made it to a Super Bowl.
And he had a perfect season until that point. But
eventually, with Joe Burrow, while he's still playing, we care less and less every year.
So, if you're going to have 50% of your cap tied into 3 players, you should probably pick the right positions to do that.
Yeah.
The right positions would probably be quarterback. And then defense. Probably a pass rusher. Probably a corner. You know, things that actually help you win games. Not
and if
a quarterback and 2
if
receivers.
Burrow is going to continue to be viewed as an elite top 5 quarterback, which we can argue about later. It's not the point. At some point, he has to be able to match up to his peers. I understand that nobody has Mahomes hardware, right? But Lamar has 2 MVPs.
Josh
Allen has an MVP. Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford
have
Super Bowl rings. So at what point does Burrow's talent have to start equaling hardware? I think that is now.
At this point,
you wanted them paid. They have been paid. These are the consequences to that. You need hardware. You have to be able to match your peers.
Let me put it this way. Currently, as it stands, I'm the one on the channel that does the quarterback rankings. And I've been putting thought into where I have quarterbacks so far. I haven't developed the whole ranking yet. I tend to wait until I get a clearer understanding of who's starting. That way I can do starters rather than...
I think the plan for quarterback ranking and team ranking, which is mine, is post-preseason. There's like 2 weeks in between preseason and the start.
Yes. That is my plan. That is probably Dallas' plan as well. But I've been putting thought into it, especially in the top-ish and the bottom-ish. Currently, I would say Joe Burrow is top 10. He might be a little outside. We'll see where it happens. But currently, he's in that top 10 range. Just take your pick where you want to select that. We do rankings at the beginning of preseason, right before the season starts, or the end of preseason, right before the season starts, and in the middle of the season. There's a chance he goes from top 10 to middle of the pack very quickly.
Yeah.
This year is going to mean a lot for us in terms of where rankings are at and how I feel about him.
How we view him.
Because this is the year. You have everything you wanted in terms of offense. You have a good tight end. You have your receiver still. You even have probably a running back that's decent. I thought the running back they brought in the draft, this was a great running back class. This guy should not have been drafted in the 6th round. He should have been earlier. That's just kind of the story of this running back class.
Yeah.
Chock full of talent. So I think bringing in a running back was a good idea. So you have everything that you could want. Your offensive line's still not great, but you've kind of proven that you don't need one to succeed.
Yeah, Burrow has made it work without one.
So this is the year. You gotta do something. At least be in the MVP conversation for most of the year.
Yeah.
If at the end of it, you're runner-up, but you had a great season, but like Lamar Jackson had another all-time season, or Mahomes had an all-time season, and you miss out,
Hard to fault you for that, but at least then we can say you're moving in that direction.
yes. But that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Is you're in the top 10 range, because truthfully, you are a top 10 quarterback. There's not a ton of guys I'd probably take over you. There is probably about 10, depending on how I look at it right now. But if you can't keep performing and you're not in the MVP conversation, then you're going to slip.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with the Bengals. It's just a lot of... You have a good offense, in theory. Your defense is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
In a conference that you probably need to have a good defense. Not probably, you need to have a good defense when you're facing the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs.
Yeah. You need all of those things. You need a pass rusher.
So.
Okay, well, to quickly wrap up the Bengals, NFL PA grades. So they came in at 24th out of 32. They actually sit relatively middle of the pack on a lot of things, or high. The problem is they have 2 Fs, and they rank at the very bottom at 2 things. So they were an F- and 32nd for treatment of families. So we don't treat our players well, and we don't treat their families well either. So it's just a rich tapestry.
Yeah, that's not great.
The Bengals are one of 3 teams that do not offer daycare during home games, and one of 10 teams that do not offer a family room during home games. They're the only team in the NFL to not offer either. Every team offers at least one.
Nice.
Players rate the post-game family area as a 4.69 out of 10, ranking them 32nd. And players feel that their team rarely organizes family events, which ranks them 32 out of 32. Bengals players feel like there is little to no effort put forth when it comes to the organization's efforts to support their families. One player describes the treatment of families as almost disrespectful. Almost disrespectful. That is an insane thing for an NFL player to say about their team. That's nuts. like if that's the most insane but telling statement.
Almost disrespectful.
Respectful. How you treat my family as someone that puts my body on the line for this organization day in and day out. That's fucking nuts.
That's terrible. Like
it's nuts. Their other F was also 32nd in food and dining. Cincinnati Bengals rate the taste of their team's food 4.82 out of 10, a ranking of 32 out of 32. They rate the freshness of their food a 5.49 out of 10, a ranking of 32 out of 32. And players feel that the rate of their dining area is a 5.98 out of 10, ranking at 30 out of 32. Players wish that more meals would be provided throughout the week. The team does not provide 3 meals a day and is one of only 2 teams in the league that do not. 2 teams. we talk about quarterbacks a lot, obviously, and we talk about team chemistry, and we're watching quarterbacks right now. And most quarterbacks, not all, I don't think Lamar's one of them, actually, go in at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. They like to watch film with nobody around.
They like the quiet.
And then
stuff.
they're there all day. So what I'm wondering is how you have professional athletes that work for you. By the way, $1 billion organization. We're not talking about some cheap mom and pop shop down the road. We're talking about $1 billion organization that employs professional athletes.
Yeah.
That put in a lot of time in your facility, and you don't feed them?
So
you don't give them a family room, and you don't feed them.
So you offer them 2 meals. Let's just assume the 2 meals are probably breakfast because they're all in there early in the morning. Breakfast would make sense.
Okay.
And then I assume lunch because they're not there that late.
I would fucking hope so.
They're not there that late, right? So it's dinner. That I'm assuming they skip. Unless, seriously, you're expected to bring a packed lunch like you're in school again.
Or if, you genuinely, I wish it said how many meals they provided. The Bengals, so hold on this note. Players said food is an area around which the team has continued to improve. Last year, the Bengals began offering dinner on Wednesdays. And this year, they began offering breakfast for players who come into the facility on their day off. So I think legit, they just get lunch. I think there's just lunch. And maybe, snacks.
Fuck your snacks.
But as real food, I think they just get lunch.
Let me get this straight. You're expecting some of the hardest working people on the planet. Guys that have spent their whole lives working out, getting stronger, are spending pretty much their whole day
working out,
burning calories, doing shit. You have offensive linemen that need to be heavy at a certain weight, need to eat a lot.
And you feed them once a day. Unless you came in on your day off.
And then it's twice.
Then you can have breakfast.
Or Wednesday, and then you get dinner.
Then you get dinner.
You're rewarded on Wednesday with a nice dinner. Okay.
That's nuts.
I can't take the Bengals. Guys, Bengals, hear me out. They're in the facility all day.
They
don't need their wives or their partners packing them a packed fucking lunch.
Well, and okay. Can you imagine the space it would take for the entire offensive line to bring a packed lunch? There aren't enough refrigerators.
I get it.
To bring them their food.
If some of the guys preferred their own, because don't get me wrong, I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have enough money to have their own chefs. And if their chefs prepare them meals throughout the day, do meal prep for them, and they bring that in, sure, that's fine. That makes sense. Those are their chefs. They know what they want. But the rest of the team probably wants food all day. And you could probably provide them food all day.
It's pretty nuts. Not unsurprisingly, at this point, nutrition and dietitian was a C, but they were still 32nd. Because apparently the Bengals do not think food is important. 41% of players report that they get an individualized nutrition plan, ranking the Bengals 32 out of 32. And players feel that their team dietitian is not sufficiently accessible, ranking of 32 out of 32. Oh shit.
Oh God. What did you find out? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
The players want their dietitian, Lindsay, to be hired as a full-time employee. Players report that she is only able to be in the building 2 days a week and strives to do the best she can with the very limited resources she is given. Players want her to be empowered to implement necessary changes that impact their nutrition and health.
You know what?
I, I'm so confused. I'm
Respect
so confused.
whoever Lindsay is working for the Cincinnati Bengals. We're sorry that the Bengals are
Yeah, shout
incompetent.
out to you.
For
You are a patient woman. You deserve all the respect in the
and I'm
world.
glad the players have respect for you and see that you're putting in the effort to help them out. And then to the Bengals, y'all suck. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Fucking crazy.
You can't hire a fucking dietitian?
Well, you have one hired, but you're like, just 2 days a week. That's all. By the way, one person, 2 days a week for 53 people.
Not just 53, because you have to keep in mind there's also the practice squad.
Like, if you got the practice squad, the coaching staff,
If
like,
depending on the situation, the front office will probably use that. You know,
yeah,
they probably
2
wouldn't
days
mind
a week. 2 days a week, Brendan.
to cover. My
because
guess
we don't
is,
think. Because we apparently
and then
still
think
live
about
in
this.
the dark days when we didn't realize that food was important.
They're also needed for training camp, which there are 90 players on the roster for training camp, plus coaching. So you're looking at almost 100 players, like 100 people that you are trying to deal with.
Most of which, by the way, most training camps, y'all live together at a hotel.
Yeah.
So do you feed them then? Or are they required to buy their own food? Because I know what I think should happen, but I don't have a lot of faith in that right now.
I think I have an answer to what actually happens, but for the Bengals, seriously, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Their highest rank was an A+, and third in locker room.
Oh, hey, they have a good locker room.
98% of players feel they have enough room in their individual lockers, a ranking of 1 out of 32.
You guys can pack
98% of
food and leave
players
it there.
feel the locker room size is adequate. Players are very complimentary of the new state-of-the-art locker room built the past offseason. So we spent money. As a team, we spent money.
All right. Let's take whatever money we spent on that locker room and let's put it to the food and dining area of our team.
Situation.
Let's, bring in that full-time new nutritionist. Let's provide meals for our players. And let's actually do things logically and like every NFL team does.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty insane. Just to quickly, head coach, 9th. Players happy with him. 96% feel he's efficient with their time, and they feel that Taylor is highly receptive to locker room feedback. Ownership, I'm going to be honest with you, after everything I just read, I'm surprised it's this high. Is a C and 25th out of 32. Mike Brown's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in facilities is 7.23 out of 10. Player feel that Brown slightly contributes to a positive team culture. Players report their sense that Brown is somewhat committed to building a competitive team, a rank of 28th. As someone who's unwilling to hire a full-time dietitian, I'm surprised it's not lower.
Well,
So, that's just an insane thing to read. And it got worse, and I didn't know it could get worse, and I think that's really the crazy part.
So, the Bengals, we've just learned, are just a sad organization.
Some cheap motherfuckers. He's just cheap.
So, lot of problems there. I have nothing else to say about the Bengals, really.
I can think of more, but it just kind of begins talking into a circle, and it definitely gets ruder the more I think about it.
And that's
so,
why,
let's move on.
I just have nothing else to add to the shit show that's actually adding.
Yeah, it's not productive at that point.
It would just be continuously piling on, and I just
It's just nuts. So we'll move on, and we'll talk the Cleveland Browns, who came in 4th in the division.
Yeah. Cleveland. I don't know if you can do much worse than the Bengals, if at all, but Cleveland will give them a run for their money, I think.
They're gonna try.
They're gonna pump the effort in.
Just a preliminary viewing of the grades.
They're trying.
It's gonna get interesting. It's gonna get interesting.
We'll start with the cap space like we always do. They have $17 million in cap. They, I think, are one of the few teams that really has nothing left to do, though. I think they've signed everybody in terms of their draft class. They re-signed Myles Garrett, so that's not a problem. Nothing is currently a problem in the Browns currently with cap space, other than you're still paying Deshaun Watson a stupid amount of money.
A crap ton of money.
But beyond that, your cap space situation is okay. On to free agency. What have we added? What have we lost? I think the biggest thing, they re-signed Myles Garrett. That's good. They brought in Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver. Last played with the Ravens. Okay. He's on a nothing contract, so fine, sure. I just want to check that. They bring back Jack Conklin, their right tackle. That's pretty decent. They bring in Jerome Baker, linebacker from the Titans. Pretty decent. Bring in safety Rashawn Jenkins from the Seahawks. That's fine. They bring back Joe Flacco at quarterback. All right. They bring in Kenny Pickett at quarterback in a trade. They bring in safety DeMonte Kazee from the Steelers. They bring in left tackle Cornelius Lucas from the Commanders. They bring in Joe Tryon Shoyinka, the pass rusher from the Buccaneers. All right. Decent. They bring in Tevin Jenkins, the right guard for the Bears. And that's pretty much the big ones. Yeah, that's the big ones. So some decent additions, bringing in quite a bit. Who they lost? They didn't bring back Jameis Winston, quarterback. He went to the Giants. They didn't bring back Nick Chubb, their running back, who's kind of a star for them, but had that really bad injury. He went to the Texans. They didn't bring back Elijah Moore, the wide receiver. They didn't bring back their long snapper. Why that matters? I don't see a long snapper that was signed, so
yeah,
I don't know if they have a long snapper. They probably do, but doesn't seem like it. They didn't bring back James Prochet, the wide receiver. They didn't bring back their right tackle, James Hudson. They didn't bring back Dorian Thomas-Robinson. He was traded. They didn't bring back Bailey Zappi, the other backup quarterback they had. So not a ton of losses that actually matter. Just a lot of guys that kind of were there. I think Jameis Winston was the biggest one they lost, but truth be told, they brought in 4 quarterbacks this offseason. So I think moving on from Jameis was a thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, brought in 4 quarterbacks, like I said. So in their draft class, they drafted 2 quarterbacks. Yes, 2 of them. They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. All right, that's fine. You thought that might be your franchise guy. You then turn around in the 5th round and draft Shedeur Sanders. That was their last pick in the draft. They brought in Shedeur Sanders. Continuing with their draft real quick, just to get through it all. They brought in Mason Graham after trading down with the Jaguars. That was actually a pretty good move for them. They get a 1st round pick next year. They bring in Carson Schwarzenegger, the linebacker. That's fine. Quinshon Judkins, the running back. That's really good. Quinshon Judkins was a really good running back. Harold Fannin Jr., good tight end. And you bring in Dylan Sampson, another running back. So in the same draft, you draft 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks.
They're really using our picks efficiently.
Really, really well. Really, really good.
Can we just Okay. You're a football organization. You haven't drafted an elite quarterback ever, and not for a very long time at minimum.
Well, you at least drafted Baker Mayfield.
You drafted Baker Mayfield, but you fucked it up.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, when he was drafted, the number one complaint or concern was that he was too immature. He got to Cleveland, and that was true.
Johnny Manziel is
Johnny Manziel. Too immature and didn't put in the prep. Got to Cleveland, that was true. Johnny Manziel no longer in the league. They trade Baker Mayfield. Baker was humbled and then got somewhere he was wanted. And now we're seeing a top 10 quarterback play.
Yeah.
He's playing at an elite level. He's been an impact to that team. I think he's been a positive impact to that city. And I'm enjoying watching his success. So I understand as the Browns, culturally, going, we're going to pass on Shedeur. We're going to pass. I think there are concerns with NIL allowing immaturity to continue to foster. Okay. One second. I have concerns. So, I understand that Mr. Watch and for all intensive purposes, I'm not going to claim to know somebody's life. But you haven't had to truly struggle. Your father is prime-time Deion Sanders. He's been your coach your whole life. Like, I get it. I get seeing him and some of the things he does and going, we're going to pass. From a maturity standpoint, sounds like the interviews did not go very well. He didn't handle himself very well. I don't think Deion helped the process. You and I talked about this extensively. I get passing. The problem is, you then have an owner that can't keep to him fucking self and says, hey, I want you to draft him, so we draft him. We're not excited. We don't hide it. He gets there, and you kind of think that what happened to Baker happened. By being drafted in the 5th round, we were kind of humbled. At this point, when you're drafted in the 5th round, the goal is just to make the fucking team. Honestly, you're just trying to make the team.
Especially when there are 3 quarterbacks ahead of you? 4?
Yeah, 3 quarterbacks drafted ahead of you or have more stock than you have. Because Kenny Pickett has played in this league. He has experience.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is the last player to get the Browns to the playoffs.
And then you draft Dylan Gabriel ahead of you in the same draft.
Ahead of you. So at this point, you are starting 4th on the depth chart. You're just trying to make the fucking team. Okay. All of that, fine. Whatever. It's an organizational choice. You made a choice. And then you get pulled over for going over 100 miles an hour in a 55. Once again, we are showing the immaturity. If you want to be a quarterback, I am not talking about being a wide receiver. I'm not talking about being a linebacker. I'm not talking about being anything else. If you want to be a quarterback, you have to be a fucking leader. And to be a leader, you cannot be the baby on the team. You can't need babysat. So you've not helped yourself.
At all.
I don't know what the Browns are doing. It doesn't make, to me, any fucking sense to spend 2 draft picks are valuable commodities. They're not things we just throw away for the sake of doing it. We don't just make picks for the sake of doing it unless you have this Mr. Irrelevant pick. And even then, you can get your fucking franchise quarterback out of that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what you're doing. I don't know what the plan is. You have continued to make the worst possible choices at the most important position. We traded for a guy, giving him a ludicrous contract that we didn't know was ever going to be allowed to play in the NFL again. Got him. It's gone terribly. So now we have 4, one of which is not proven he's a starter, one of which
is,
I'm pretty sure, could give, Rich Eisen on his show said this, could give 0 fucks. At this point in his life. Like, he's playing with house money.
Yeah.
Like, you owe him $1 million regardless. He takes maybe a snap a day. Because at this point, are you telling me you're commentating on Joe Flacco's mechanics? He could give a fuck. He's going to stand the way he's going to stand.
And he's going to
and
throw
either
it,
he'll throw 5 interceptions or 5 touchdowns. Who knows? A 3rd round quarterback who was a 3rd round or lower.
And really shouldn't have been drafted in the 3rd round.
And a 5th round quarterback who talent-wise is probably above that, but maturity-wise is not.
Probably should have gone undrafted.
So what's the plan?
The plan is just
to throw. The goal?
The plan is just to throw darts at the dartboard and hope you hit the bullseye. And truthfully, I think they're not even hitting the board currently. You haven't even hit like a 1 on the dartboard yet. Actually, maybe, you know what? Joe Flacco might be your, you hit the board, but you didn't hit anything good. You kind of just hit the board.
Yeah.
So, they're playing darts the wrong way. You don't throw 4 of them. And the goal is to actually hit the board. So, the
goal is to have a franchise quarterback. You can build the team around.
The goal is
Sean Watson was a miss. I get it. I even understand saying, hey, we don't think our franchise guy is in this draft. But then you save that 5th round.
And you pick
something.
You pick something
that
helps your team.
You don't draft a player that at the end of the day you could cut and it wouldn't make a difference.
At this point, yeah. And truthfully, I think at this point, he's probably getting cut.
I would be, unless something crazy happens.
The
only thing I genuinely still think that saves him, and this is the unfortunate part, is that the owner wanted him.
I think really the only thing that could save him is he comes out and lights preseason on fire.
Yeah, like you have to play phenomenally, and that's saying that you get enough snaps to do that.
And yeah,
Because I would bet Flacco takes a drive, Pickett takes the rest of that half,
and then you and Dylan Gabriel,
and then maybe you and Gabriel split the second half. Maybe.
and then Flacco probably won't play every game.
Yeah.
Like he'll probably play like 2. In that last game, when truthfully teams just don't care anymore, because that tends to happen in the last preseason game because it's the last preseason game.
It's just about making cuts.
I truthfully don't know. You have to prove that you now belong, and you're really not helping yourself do that because you had to prove it from the beginning. And you've taken steps to not only not prove it, to disprove it. So,
You haven't proven them wrong. That the problem was your maturity.
And so far, you're just proving them right.
And that is their biggest fear at quarterback. Because that's what they've had.
So,
you have to be an adult to sit at the quarterback table. You have to be an adult.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson does not get pulled over for going 100 miles an hour.
No starting quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes doesn't get caught with photos at the club. Joe Burrow isn't flashing his fucking watch. Like,
again, no starting quarterback is getting pulled over for going 100 miles an hour. Few of them are actually in the media this time of year. And you know what? They're in the media because they're hanging out with their wide receivers, and the NFL needs something to talk about.
Or they went to a sports event where they look like a fucking adult. They look like an adult.
They went as a fan. There are times they do that. Most of these quarterbacks are owners in some sport.
Yeah.
They kind of just show up, hang out.
So, just not. I was rooting for him, right? I was. I thought
you were humbled enough.
Yeah, that you would go in there fighting, and we would see the best version of him. And quarterbacks cannot have drama. And when you are the leader of a franchise, when you are the face of a billion-dollar organization, that is the weight that's put on you. It's just fact. You have to represent
them.
A billion-dollar organization. And you can't do that with a mugshot. You just can't. So, good luck. I think you've wildly hurt yourself. And I think you've wildly hurt your chances to be a starter and certainly to start this year.
I
thought you could have.
I think you've thrown that so far out the window. You're going to be lucky to even make a roster.
Yeah.
And you're going to be lucky if you play football in the NFL again. Or ever.
Yeah. Or you're going to be that guy. You got drafted in the 5th overall round. You will bounce around teams for the next 7 years as a backup.
Or seriously, no team is going to take you. And you're going to go to Canada or the UFL.
Or unless, a head coach on the edge of getting fired is desperate enough to give it a shot.
Or your dad gets hired in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the current trajectory of your career.
I think he ends up in Canada at the end of this year, playing in the CFL. We'll see. Obviously, he could turn it all around. I don't think he will.
But you don't have a lot of time. And when you were starting 4th on the depth chart,
you have a very tight leash.
Yeah.
And a very slim margin of error.
Like, every head coach will tell you the most important thing that they have is a quarterback they don't worry about. Quarterback they don't worry about. When Lamar doesn't show up for OTAs, John Harbaugh's not worried. When Patrick Mahomes misses
A day of
OTA
practice.
because he had something going on, Andy Reid is not worried. He will be prepared. He will not get into trouble. He will be in shape. He will know the playbook. And when Sunday comes, he doesn't need babysat. Is he going to get to the stadium on time? Is he going to get here safely? Are these things going to happen? They don't worry about those things. They simply trust them to happen. Because you are an adult with an adult job, and you are responsible for taking care of yourself. One of the benefits of being drafted into the NFL versus the NBA is you're an adult. Right? Like, you've been through 3 to 4 years of college. You're in your 20s. You can take care of yourself. In the NBA, you drafted 18 and 17-year-olds. I get it. We have some concerns. We have some things that we pay attention to. In the NFL, you're an adult. And you play against adults who get paid to support their babies, and their wives take your head off. And if you're not focused, that's how you get hurt. And that's how organizations lose. So, I really was rooting for you. I came on here and I said, I think they were trying to teach him a lesson. I think they were trying to humble him. I think talent-wise, he has the greatest potential in that room. He threw it all out the window. And to people listening, if you don't really watch the NFL and you think, wow, you're like really harping on like a speeding ticket. One, it's not just that it's a speeding ticket. It was how fast he was going. Like, it's a reckless driving ticket. And the fact that he got one at all is actually wildly uncommon for quarterbacks. They are faces of the league. They are faces of their organization. They are expected to be leaders, and they are expected to be grown men that take responsibility for themselves and for others. And if you can't be trusted with your car, can I trust you with $1 billion organization? And the answer is no.
So, not great. We'll
It's
move
not great.
on
I think the deck is stacked
against him.
more than it already was.
He's got a hell of a mountain to climb. We will move on from talking about Shador because, again, like we said with the Bengals, there's just nothing else to add. It's just going to be piling on the same bullshit.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how preseason goes. We'll see how training camp goes.
He's going to have to really screw his head on, put it down, and get the fuck to work.
And show that he's serious, and he takes it seriously. I'm just mad. And I think the thing I'm maddest about is they were right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'm also mad that you have talent.
And you're throwing it away.
And you're just trying to throw it away as best you can.
And you don't get to claim any of maybe the excuses. I was drafted, I fell because of my dad. I fell because of politics. Now we know. Now we know why you fell. There was all this speculation that the people in your corner tried to refute, and now you've proven those people wrong. All right, on to grades. Awesome. It's not awesome. They don't have as many shocking things as the Bengals did, but it's not great.
It's just consistently not great.
Yeah, it's just consistently terrible. Overall ranking 30th out of 32. All but 2 of their ranks are in the 20s or under. Their highest grade is weight room at 8th. Players report that the weight room equipment is high quality, ranking them an 8 out of 32. Players feel that they have more than enough room to train in the weight room, ranking them 9. And the Browns built a brand new state-of-the-art weight room this past offseason. So, there's that. Their lowest grade was training staff at 32nd and a C-. 69% of players report they receive enough one-on-one training treatment, and ranking them 31 of 32. Players feel that the training staff slightly contributes to their overall success, ranking the team 32nd out of 32nd. Training room staff, after the report came out, the Browns did hire 2 more staff members because a big complaint was that they were understaffed. So I think the Browns are trying to make effort. Treatment of families. This one got a little interesting. 28th out of 32. D+. Browns provide daycare on game day, but they are one of 10 that do not offer a family room. Players believe that the coaches' families are treated better than the players' families. For example, the coaches' families have a post-game meet-up inside the stadium, while the players' families meet under a tent in the parking lot.
Okay.
So, that's a choice that we make. The one that was interesting. Locker room, F-, 31st out of 32. 39% of players feel they have enough room. 29% of players feel their locker room size is adequate. So, not crushing it. Not crushing it. Head coach. We all view Stefanski as a good, offensive-minded head coach. Great head coach.
One coach
Coach
of the year.
2 years ago. 30th.
Well,
And a C. 67% of Browns players feel their head coach Kevin Stefanski is efficient with their time, a rank of 29. Players feel that Stefanski is moderately receptive to locker room feedback and team's needs, ranking him 30th out of 32. So,
only 3 coaches got a C this year.
Yeah.
He was the only one that wasn't fired. So,
yeah.
Take that for what you will.
Ownership, because I always do ownership. C+, 22nd out of 32. Owner Jimmy Haslam's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is 7.9 out of 10 from Browns players, ranking him 21st. Players believe that ownership slightly contributes to a positive team culture, ranking 29. Players feel that ownership is somewhat committed to building a competitive team, a rank of 29. When he keeps getting involved in your draft, I'm not shocked at that. So, it's not great. And last year, they were also 30th. So, they didn't make improvements.
Just a sign of the Browns, really. They've always been dysfunctional,
Yeah.
And they will continue to be dysfunctional. Because that's just what the Browns do.
It just kind of oozes terrible.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
Maybe the Browns should have taken some inspiration from the movie Draft Day. And stayed away from an immature quarterback. But they didn't. So
we'll see.
Here we are.
I think it's the biggest question in the entirety of the NFL this offseason is who will be the Bengals starting quarterback.
Yeah, because I still have no fucking clue.
I think it's going to be Pickett.
I think it's going to be Flacco.
Fair. And I think there's a very good chance of that. I do think there's a very good chance of that. The thing I think motivates, like this to me would be the thought process, right? Is you look at Pickett and you go, okay, mediocre college career, was drafted by the Steelers, who, as we've discussed, can't develop a quarterback. Goes to the Eagles that have a stacked roster, and you see him be able to manage the game. So then you think with Stefanski, this offensive-minded head coach, if Pickett can be something, this is the guy that's going to get him there. And we need to know that now.
Yeah.
Flacco is the easiest to cut, put on the bench. You know he's going to know the playbook. You know 50-50, you know what you're getting.
Yes. The reason
Pickett is if you want potentially a franchise guy that you don't have to deal with the rookie bullshit.
Now, I will say, the reason I am picking Flacco is because the last time Flacco played for Stefanski, they went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when you're as bad as the Browns have been, the playoffs are rare.
Yeah.
And
the only thing is two things. One, the last film Flacco put out there. And then two, his age.
yes.
And I think it's easier to go from Pickett to Flacco than Flacco to Pickett.
And that's a fair assessment.
So that is my current
It depends.
bet.
Really, it depends on how you want to play your season. Do you want it to go off of potential or floor?
Yeah. So, and given the Browns' history, Dylan Gabriel will be the starter.
I was about to say Shedeur Sanders, but Gabriel's not a bad option. It'll be one of the rookies, just because we said it would be one of the vets.
I think the smart play, depending on what you see as coaches, is Pickett or Flacco.
Probably.
So, if it's Pickett, Flacco's your backup. You have one of the rookies as your third, who's there to learn, develop, and you cut one. If Flacco is your starter, maybe Pickett's your backup and you do the same thing. Maybe you have a rookie as the backup.
Probably the same thing. But
so
who knows? It's the Browns. Probably won't make the right choice.
Yeah, it'll probably be wrong regardless.
So that's where we're at.
So, yeah.
You know, it's the Browns. There's not much more to say than that. So
good luck. Seriously, if the Ravens do not win their division, I don't think I can do a podcast anymore. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Just retire.
I'm just gonna be like, I give up. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Now there are circumstances that I would be like, okay, well, nothing anybody could have done, you know.
We're not gonna mention the circumstance.
I'm not gonna mention those circumstances, but there are circumstances.
It's there. You know it exists. And yeah, I think if that happens,
then no, I would not. I do not think Cooper Rush.
I don't know.
I don't think that's happening. But also still compared to the rest of their division, maybe.
I think at that point, there's only one team that has a better quarterback than you, and that's if he's healthy. So,
and they have to have a defense.
That Granted, I don't know how much of a defense you need against Cooper Rush, but
fair.
At
You
least,
still got to deal with Derrick Henry.
At least the Ravens are the most complete roster.
They are. And appear to be the most competent organization, at least within their division.
Well, that tends to be
So
the case
for
anyway.
Ravens fans going, hey, I really wish they'd have a Super Bowl, or they'd win a Super Bowl right now. I agree. But
it could always be.
At least we're not the other teams in the division.
Really?
So it's like right
Really?
side.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be the Browns. You just don't.
So. All right. Well, did we have any other sports talk? Anything on your mind?
The United States soccer team lost in the Gold Cup. That's pretty much the only thing. It's
unfortunate.
Lost to Mexico in the final. That's what's happening there. Beyond that, there's not a ton. It's pretty much just baseball.
Sure.
Pretty much just baseball. So, that's where we're at.
Right.
So I think that's it. If you have nothing else.
I don't.
All right.
I don't.
Well, that does it for us then. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment.
Oh, next week we will do the AFC West.
East.
Next week we will do the AFC East. And begin our breakdown of those teams with the Bills.
Dolphins?
The Dolphins? Because then it should be Jets and Patriots?
I think it was Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots.
Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
You will confirm that, but pretty confident.
Pretty confident that's how they ended up the division. But don't really remember. Because really, after the Bills, it just didn't matter.
Who cares?
So, yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, we will start then.
We'll do that division next week. Obviously, the Bills are going to be the main one. The other three, we're going to have some fun with, I guess, because
we're going to talk about.
Got some problems. But yeah, beyond that, let us know what y'all think. Let us know if you have anything else sports related you want us to talk about. Baseball wise, NFL wise, basketball, whatever. Pick one.
Yeah.
If you have another sport you want us to look at, let us know. If you have literally anything to say down in the comments, do it. I don't really care what it is.
This is kind of the time we're itching for new stuff to watch.
So,
this is the moment.
Just let us know. Put whatever you want in the comment section, kind of, within reason. But beyond that, that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. We're in the off season. Give us shit to talk about. We will probably talk about it. So
we will at least mention it.
Yeah.
We'll at least mention it.
So yeah. Beyond that, I think that's it for us this week. Awesome. I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
And this has been Flox's podcast. Thank you all for joining us.